Welcome to the final episode of the Accounting Talent Podcast. For now, at least, it's been an incredible journey exploring some challenges, opportunities in recruitment, retention, talent development within the accounting profession. But today, we are bringing the show to the end of a season and reflecting on the success of the show, celebrating its impact, sharing a glimpse of what's next for 2025. And when I started this show, the talent crisis in accounting was front and center. Firms were struggling to attract and develop and retain their people in an era of disruption, unprecedented change. And over the course of this season of the show, we've hit some of these issues head on, offering you strategies, insights, best practices to help you, your firms thrive and attract talent in these crazy times. And as we close out this chapter, I want to leave you with 10 powerful takeaways. We've done 75 episodes, including this one. This is going to be a practical checklist of lessons that I've learned from this podcast that accounting firms can apply to remain competitive and differentiated. That's the point, isn't it? You've got to stand out for talent. You've got to set yourself up as a preferred place to work, and that requires all kinds of things. So these are 10 things I picked out from guests that I've interviewed, research that I've done for the show, and these all impact leaders in accounting firms, not just HR, not just heads of people, people running culture, people in management and boss roles, but everybody really to contribute to the well-being of the firm, the success, the growth of the firm. And 10 tips here, 10 takeaways that hopefully will wrap up this season really, really well. And then I'll give you an indication of what might be coming up for the Accounting Talent Podcast. So number one is master hybrid work. I did an interview with John Wickman and John Fenton just recently, and this will be coming out on both the Accounting Influencers podcast and the Accounting Talent Podcast at some point. And this was about hybrid work. We can't rely on the return to office and bringing everybody back in, but neither can we rely on remote work. They both have flaws. It is hard to drive culture. We know that with remote working. It's hard to get people trained up. It's hard to collaborate and innovate. Productivity may or may not be called into question in remote work, because without that 2-3 hour of commuting a day, you might well get more work done. But the answer is hybrid work. It's got to be. People facing big commutes and that return to the office mandate, we know it's had ramifications for the big corporates that have tried to do it. And people have a taste now of working from home and that freedom and that adaptability, that flexibility, particularly with mental health. So the most successful firms today aren't just adapting to hybrid work. They are driving it. They are excelling at it. They're creating cultures that balance flexibility with accountability and collaboration. If you can get that right, you will feed those employees that want autonomy, particularly the younger generation. But they also crave connection, autonomy plus connection. You get the balance right, you'll see the results. Number two, we talked a lot about building a strong employer brand. This is your firm's reputation as a place to work, as a preferred place to work. This is more critical than ever. People have choice. Even today, we see layoffs from big firms, but still, it's an employee market. It's a talent market. They have ownership of this, and firms are still scrambling to get enough people in. Most firms are operating at a 5 to 10% vacancy in headcount. So by that, I mean, if you've got 250 people at your firm, you might have between 10 and 20-ish vacancies for roles. And many firms have been proactive in their recruitment, in hiring before they have a need for people, just to get good people in and imbue the culture into them. So candidates, people out there at whatever level, the lateral hires, senior or the more junior or entry-level hires, they're drawn to firms that stand out, that offer purpose and meaningful work and interesting work and a vision and a story they can buy into. They want firms that align with their values. So if you can highlight your culture and the benefits, the development opportunities, the great tech, the interesting work you're offering, that's the key to standing out in a crowded market. So number two is building your employer brand. Number three is onboarding with excellence. I've done a lot with my colleague Jeff Phillips on this one, because first impressions matter. People fall off very quickly. Buyer's remorse. You know, you bought something, gone into a shop, paid for it, or even online. And once you get it in your hands or once you're used to it, you think, why did I do that? Was that the wrong move? So if first impressions matter, we know that the firms that onboard new hires at any level with structure, with support, with clarity, asking them if they got everything they need for their role, getting alongside them, making feel like they belong very quickly, they retain people longer and they see faster output from those people. better productivity. So firms that treat onboarding as an experience, not a process, they are the ones that are winning. So that's number 3. Number 4 is prioritize well-being. It's a buzzword, I know, but you can't get away from it these days. Mental health, digital well-being, they're no longer nice to haves. They're no longer, they're table stakes, aren't they? They're essential. You've got to actively support your employees' health. You've got to build trust, loyalty, productivity, and take care of them. And these are people. These are people with needs. These are people with lives. These are people with responsibilities and interests outside work. And in today's COVID world, where we've been socially isolated for so long, today's post-pandemic COVID world, we're just beginning to emerge from that and getting back face to face. And a lot of people are struggling with that. They've got a taste for doing their own thing and working to their own schedule. And if you push them beyond that, you will get some fragmentation of the mental state. I'm not saying it's pandemic in accounting, but the message is clear. Mental health first aiders, mental well-being is affecting people at all levels, inside and outside work. And a lot of it's not work-related, but it's impacted in the performance at work. So that's the 4th one, is look at mental health. The 5th one is develop leadership at all levels. A lot keeps coming back to leadership, doesn't it? Why do people leave a good job because of a bad leader? Why do people leave a decent role because of a bad boss? So leadership's not just for the partners or the executives or the managers, the directors, principals in situ. Emerging leaders need guidance. People coming through the ranks, they're looking above and seeing how leadership is playing out there. So they're emulating that or avoiding that. And they're developing their own style of leadership, and they will copy what they see if they like it. So emerging leaders that you're bringing through, they need guidance, they need mentorship, they need coaching, they need opportunities to grow physically, mentally, emotionally, technically, technologically. So leadership development is one of the most powerful retention tools that you can offer. Number 6 is upskilling your people. We hear a lot about soft skills, as well as the technical skills, as well as the technological skills. We know that the profession's evolving. We know that the skills that got people here will not necessarily get them there. We hear a lot about AI and mastering the emerging technologies that are coming through. But what's clear is technical skills are not enough. They're table stakes. A good technical accounting, bookkeeping professional is a given. Pretty much everyone out there is qualified and everyone out there is competent. So technical skills, as much as you've got to keep them up to date and you've got to keep your employee skills up to date, it is the softer skills, the life skills, the leadership skills, problem solving, communication, discernment, adaptability, empathy, presenting, influencing, persuading, networking. All of these things are just as important as the technical side of things. So you've got to invest in training, both on the job, mentoring type, getting alongside people, and maybe bringing in formal experts to do some classroom-based training or coaching. This keeps you and your team competitive. Number 7 is inclusion. We can't talk about talent without the DEI agenda coming up: diversity, equity, inclusion. I've even heard the J added to that one. You may have to: justice. The DEIJ agenda. And when I say it's an agenda, I don't mean to be disparaging. A diverse, inclusive culture is no longer optional. Whatever underrepresented class you are in, or however you define yourself, you need agency. You need representation. You want your employees to look at your firm and see somebody like them, people like them, cohorts, groups like them. People want representation. They want somebody they can identify with. So if you embrace equity and inclusion and attract a broader talent pool, you will allow them to see people like them and get them to hear and see stories about journeys like they're going on. So that fosters innovation. That fosters collective brain power, diverse thinking, good critical thinking, loyalty within teams, and giving everybody that feeling that they've got a chance to make it too. They've got a chance to make a difference. Focusing on inclusion, it's no longer an option. Number 8, if I'm counting right, is planning for succession. We've done a few episodes on succession planning, whether it's grooming internal talent to come through the ranks or looking externally for that next wave of leaders. Succession planning ensures continuity and growth. It seems obvious, doesn't it? But most firms hire the next person when they've lost the last person. So getting ahead of that and investing in those leaders of the future and looking at those critical roles in your firm that need replacing, they are some of the things that good firms do well. So start the process early. Jeff Phillips has talked about this quite a lot. Start the process early. Don't leave it to chance. Don't be reactive about succession planning. Look at those gaps and fill those gaps before they become gaps. That's proactive succession planning, particularly as we've acknowledged on this show. This is research out there. 75% of accounting leaders and partners are at or close to retirement age. So what does that mean? There's going to be a generational shift, isn't there? There's going to be a changing of the guard, as we say here in the United Kingdom. There's going to be roles being emptied, critical skills and knowledge leaving your firm soon. As soon as they get that equity payout or they get the opportunity to leave on their terms, you're going to have to fill those roles. And not everyone's looking for partnerships. Not everyone's looking for those big leadership roles. It comes with a lot of responsibility. And not everyone's buying into that these days. A lot of people are just happy being in the ranks and serving and doing their thing at their level. So you've really got to be intentional with identifying that next wave of leaders, the people that want it, the people that can do it, and the people that are coachable. So the message there is start it early. Don't leave it to chance. Number 9, stay agile in recruitment. Everybody's job in a firm is recruitment. We can all have a conversation that involves us being an ambassador of the firm and talking the firm up and sharing why this is a great place to work. Jeff Phillips has talked a lot about crisis hiring being very reactive and very costly. People will leave. We know that. Things happen, tragedies happen, upsets happen, disruption happens. For reasons beyond your control, you are going to lose people at all places in the career spectrum. But the best firms build proactive talent pipelines, don't they? They are ahead of the game. They hire before they need them. They recognize the firm is growing. They know there's going to be capacity issues and they want to get ahead of the game. So staying agile in recruitment is the way to go. Whether you've got dedicated talent acquisition people or you're using outside recruitment, you could be utilizing offshoring and outsourcing solutions providers. There are some great ones out there. Whatever you're doing, stay on your toes with it. The best firms are building these pipelines of talent and they're leveraging technology to do that. They're building a strong employer brand to do that. They're building up good strategic partnerships and a presence out there in the marketplace. They're owning a narrative. They're telling a story and they're getting eyeballs and ears listening, watching them to attract candidates even before vacancies arrives. The last time you want to, the worst time to be hiring somebody is when you've got a vacancy in some areas. You should be planning that ahead of time if you can. But accidents and upsets and surprises happen, so stay agile. Number 10 is creating a talent stack. It's a phrase that Jeff Phillips, my co-host, coined. At least I heard him talk about it first. We've heard about tech stacks in accounting, but talent stacks. So firms that succeed in the competitive talent environment that we've got are those that think holistically about talent. So what's involved in the talent stack? Well, we're talking here about combining your strong culture, great leadership, modern technology, continuous development, and keeping your people engaged, keeping your firm relevant, keeping your clients up to date, doing the right kind of work or the right kind of pricing right is important. So that talent stack is just thinking about all the different kinds of hires you can make as well. We've talked about the different kinds of outsourcing and the different kinds of temporary workers and the different kinds of consultancy and the different kinds of roles that you can bring in, even with non-accounting people. So beefing up the capacity of your firm beyond traditional thinking, that's creating a talent stack, and that's being agile with your recruitment. So there you are. That's 10 takeaways that you should be already on with. If you're dedicated to this show, you've been following it in these previous 74 episodes. We've talked all about this, but that gives you a really nice wrap up. And throughout this season, we've also explored how accounting firms can manage change, especially disruptive change. And that leans into managing remote teams, managing new technologies, adapting to AI and automation, cloud, digital, all of that. The key takeaway here is that people are your greatest asset. And no matter how great your tech and your tools and your processes, firms that focus on the people, building trust, fostering connection, getting comp structure right, business models, creating meaningful career paths, mentoring, coaching them right, getting alongside them regarding their mental health, having a view on diversity, these all count. They're all in the mix. They're all pieces of the jigsaw. And without all of the pieces, you might just fall short and struggle a little bit. We talked too about the private equity impact on talent. I've called it a revolution. I did that in episode 72. Why your best people might be leaving if you don't look out for them and pay regard to the god that is artificial intelligence. As we draw to a close, it's been my privilege to dive into these topics with some of the brightest minds in the industry. We've had some amazing guests over the years. So thanks to all of you who joined us as a guest to share your expertise. And to all of you who have listened and watched and engaged with this podcast over the couple of years that it's been going, it's been a wonderful project for me. I am reflecting on this journey in this podcast, but also looking ahead, because while it's taking a pause, this conversation is far from over, because talent will continue to be a defining issue for the accounting profession in years to come, not just firms. And there's every chance this show might return in my hands or somebody else's hands. And we'll be exploring these new evolving challenges. I may or may not be involved, but I'll still always have a passion for talent and accounting. And for me, 2025 marks the next phase of my mission. I'm going to continue helping accounting firms differentiate themselves as employers of choice. I work with firms, and it might be applicable for you to interview your people, to talk about why your firm is a great place to work, and getting personality-led, authentic stories from them to build up your employer brand, to put on your website, to put on your social channels, to put on your intranet for your onboarding, because your own people are the best ambassadors of your firm. It's not a corporate brochure. It's not a website. It's not testimonials from your clients saying that you're great. It's your own people saying this is a great firm to work, and here's why. So I'm doing that with a few firms. If you want me to beef up your employer brand, then reach out on LinkedIn and we can talk about that. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing in 2025, and showcasing those firms with great stories to strengthen their employer brand. I'm also doing some personal branding interviews to help 12 leaders in 2025 to stand out, attract opportunities, build their influence. And I'm interviewing them once a month and turning those into video snippets and thought leadership pieces so that they don't have to do that themselves, but they'll probably be very good at talking with me. So if you're looking for ongoing insights into building your personal brand and a done-for-you way of raising your profile externally and internally, reach out to me as well. So it just remains for me to say, keep tuning into the show, keep looking at some of those back episodes. We've got a catalog now of 75 shows, and you'll get those insights on talent, culture, people strategies. And I invite you to join me as I continue my main show, which is the Accounting Influencers podcast. That's where I will be for this foreseeable future. I do have some co-hosts on that one, and we cover the topics that matter most to accounting leaders. And that's helping people in management leadership roles in accounting firms and even in the profession to manage better, lead better, be more influential, have more of a voice, more of a say, even emerging managers. So we tackle turnover and talent differentiation in there. We talk about leadership development. We talk about the future of work. We talk about the brand of the profession. We talk about the impact of various disruptive drivers of change on accounting. We talk about PE and how that's affecting firms. We talk about AI and how that's affecting firms. We talk about mergers and acquisitions. We talk about talent. We talk about culture, all of these things that you need to get a handle on. So we bring you the insights and give you the takeaways for how you can lead, manage, and be more influential in your firm. It's a show that's designed to keep you informed and relevant and inspired and influential. Thanks for being part of this incredible journey. Your support's been invaluable. Thanks for checking out the YouTube channel, and thanks for checking out this show on whatever podcast app or platform you listen to on. I hope the ideas we've shared here continue to spark change in your firms. This is not goodbye. This is a see you soon. Let's stay connected. through the Accounting Influencers podcast or through LinkedIn, or if we work together, everyone's helping to shape the future of talent in accounting. So stay inspired, stay committed, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day.